What is up, everybody? Bobby here, the Geek Guru. Geek, definitely Guru. I don't know. So today we're going to do a little Let's Play Wednesday. Back to the grind of Minecraft. I figured since it's Wednesday, NES Day, that I would do Nintendo-related stuff. So I used to do this series back a while ago where I would basically, give a shout out to Nintendo on NES Day and discuss different things that I loved about the NES console. So I figured while creating a new character, I could do that. So I am drawing, per se, a new Nintendo character. I don't know that I want to necessarily say who it is at this point, but you should be able to tell very shortly as we go forward. But moving forward, I might as well tell you. It doesn't make sense not to tell you. I'm doing Link today, so we're going to talk some Zelda, original NES Zelda. A lot of people, this was the start of it all for a lot of people. This game in particular was one that got me hooked on the NES. This one, basically, when I played it the first time, I was just like blown away. It was something totally different. Growing up with the Atari 2600, adventure games were more or less like you'd move like two stages, two rooms to the left and two rooms to the right, and a couple up and ahead and back and forth. And like adventure games like Raiders of the Lost Ark were horrible, and so to get a game like Zelda that was just so deep and the music was catchy and fun and enjoyable and such, you didn't necessarily find any flaws with it whenever you played it. So for me, it was always a great game. Like the first time I ever played it was with my cousins. I've said it numerous times before. We didn't get an NES at launch. The first time I actually got to really dive in and play, my cousin got one for Christmas, and they got the NES. They got the NES for Christmas. They got Zelda, Pro Wrestling, and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I believe. Now remember, this wasn't at launch because at launch they didn't have a lot of. They were difficult to get. So at this point, the NES had been out for a year or so. And then obviously they got Mario Brothers as well. So my cousins were playing this when I remember them playing Zelda when I came over, and I was just floored. With my cousins at that point were in the first level, actually the second level, and the first or second doesn't matter. But they basically had the boomerang. I remember watching them like throw the boomerang around and it coming back to Link, and just a lot of cool stuff back then. So just the fact that like you had different weapons and different enemies and all that stuff, and it just made for a great game all around. It was deep as far as like the secrets, finding different things, unlocking all these crazy levels, and you'd always find stuff like the Warp Whistle, and shout out to the Warp Whistle podcast, by the way. But you'd find different things like the Warp Whistle, and you'd find like the red suit and the blue suit, and you'd find these underground levels where you burn a bush and you mysteriously get money, or have to pay for a guy's door that you just burn down. And I remember just like finding all these little things, these little tricks and gimmicks to the game, and just making it so much better all around. So and I know Zelda's like a huge fan favorite for a lot of people, and it always has been. It's just been a lot of fun. So we are going to advance ahead a little bit in this and get this Link going, per se. So I should be back in a minute. So here we are back again, just advanced a little bit so you guys could see more progress as we're going along. The sun's coming up in the background, as you can see, and I figured it was a good time to get back into it because most of the building that was done at night. A little bit harder to see things, so I figured let me skip it ahead to daybreak and show you more. But I remember playing the original Zelda, and I remember by the time I got an NES, it was just around the time that Super Mario Bros. 2 was getting ready to come out, and Zelda 2 was getting ready to come out. And I remember people making this huge ordeal about how Zelda 2 was so different compared to Zelda 1. And, you know, it looked awesome. It looked great, but it was just a drastic distancing from the first Zelda, like the top-down battling, and I think that's what made me love Zelda on the Super Nintendo so much, because it was back to that Link to the Past. It was back to the basics, more or less, where you were top-down playing. They've always been some of my favorite NES Zelda games. Not NES games, but Nintendo games. Zelda games were always the top-down games. They were always seemed to be my favorite. Just more or less because it took you back to that time. And it's a shame because it's like you'll never go back and have a first time with Zelda. But it's always fond memories when it comes up and you think about it, and it's like, wow, this is just amazing. You know, the gameplay and when you look back at the original Zelda, how far the stuff that they came up with. I remember my friend, my best friend, Dave Maxwell, his stepfather, Danny, would play during the day while we were at school, and he usually worked at nights, and he got hooked on Zelda. And I remember, like, he would draw maps for us to help us during the day, and we come home from school and we'd have these maps on different levels drawn out, like with tips and hints for us, and we wouldn't always use them, but we could always refer back to them, or if he didn't necessarily beat a level yet and he was about to, like, we would work on it with him and give him tips and like, hey, we heard this at school today, like, try this, and he would try it and it would work, and it was a lot of fun, So we'll be back in 1 second. We're going to wrap this up. So here we go, final blocks going into place. Should have a link completed very soon here. And so basically I wanted to say, like, be sure to check out all the content that we're providing, and by we I mean Team Geek, Mark at the Work Whistle podcast, him and his brother Colin. They do a great podcast, Nintendo based. TOBY and his wife Karina are doing a lot of Minecraft Let's Plays. My wife Toni, she does some stuff. You know, ALLAN, Full Fat Gaming, he has a podcast. Karina, she has some stuff. So as we back away, there is the final thing, the final link completed. So another 8-bit character added to my world. Again, if you guys want to see different characters, shoot me a message. Leave a comment below, like, what would you like to see built next. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. If you are, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It'd be awesome. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys So it was a weird pause. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you guys later. Peace, mother